All right, so we've created our assignments, our quizzes, we've worked in our modules, but there is one other type of assignment that many instructors like to create, and that is an assignment known as a discussion forum. So let's go ahead, we're going to start on our home page in Canvas. Over here on our left-hand navigation, we're going to go to Discussions, and that's going to bring us here. So let's talk a little bit about the discussion panel. You'll notice that you can actually search the discussion panel here by title, body, or author. You can view assignments or unread discussions. Here we've got our button where we can add a new discussion, and we've got this cog that when we click it allows us to change our settings along with student settings. So if you want to allow students to create discussion topics, which many probably won't, you can check this or you can leave it unchecked. You can allow students to edit and delete their own posts. So if you want it to where they realize I made a typo, I made a mistake, I'd like to go back in and change it, then this allows them to do that. If instead you'd like whatever they submit to be permanent, then you can go ahead and remove this. And you can also make it to where they can attach files to the discussion. So if you want them to attach a Word document or a PDF or anything like that, you can go ahead and select that. I'm going to leave that unchecked for now. I'm going to choose Save Settings here. And then let's talk about what we have down here. So we have three different sections in this discussions panel. Pin discussions, discussions, and close for comments. Now the big thing to note here is these two are going to always be sorted or ordered by recent activity. Pin discussions are discussions that you can change the order of. Now, remember I told you that in my particular case, I wasn't going to let students see discussion in their navigation bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create discussions and I'm going to drop them into modules. So if a discussion is part of an assignment, I'm going to have this discussion in the module as part of the student progressing through that module. So let's go ahead and we're going to create our first discussion. And I'm going to do that by simply clicking the plus discussion button. When we do this, we're going to find a very familiar kind of thing, and that is the rich content editor. So I'm just going to call this example discussion. And I'm going to say this is the introductory discussion assignment. To complete this assignment, please respond to it and introduce yourself to the rest of the class. I can attach a file if I want to, I'm not going to. You can also choose several different options. You can allow threaded replies. What this means is if a student replies and another student replies not to your primary discussion but to that other student, then it will show that student underneath them. So it will essentially thread those together. So I'm going to actually do that because it'll make it easier for me to kind of follow what my students are talking about and who they're talking to. Users must post before seeing replies. No, I'm going to let them see what they need to. Enable a podcast feed. I don't need to worry about that. Graded. Here's where you can actually determine if you want this assignment graded or not. So if this is going to be part of a mandatory grade, you can check that. And then, do you want to allow your students to like other students' posts? This is completely cosmetic. Obviously, there are no grades tied to how much somebody's post is liked or not, but if you'd like them to see something similar to what they might experience in a social network, then you can choose to enable this. Is this a group discussion? You can say yes or no. If you do, then you're going to come up with a name for the group. You're going to allow them to self-sign up or not. You're going to require group members to be in the same section, and then you can also choose to split students into groups. I'm not going to make this a group assignment. I'm actually going to make this an individual discussion amongst the whole class. I can set a due date for it. So I can say, okay, it's going to be available from, let's say, today, the 9th, until it'll be due the 22nd. Okay, or to be available at least until then. And then let's just say that this is going to be points possible, they get 5 points. And then I can again choose whatever assignment group. If I wanted to create a new group, then I could. Okay, I'll leave it with lab reports for now. Again, you can assign peer reviews if you want to. I'm not going to. Okay. And then finally, due. Again, I'm going to make this due on the 22nd. And I said as well, I was going to make it available from the 9th until 22nd. Okay, so I've created this discussion topic. Let's go ahead and save and publish it. And there's what it looks like. Okay. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my modules and I'm going to drop this discussion topic into my first module. So here we go. I want to go ahead and add it to module 1, or unit 1, discussion from the drop-down menu, example discussion, and add item. There we go. And there it is. So now if I go into settings and I go to student view, here's what the students would see. So the student would jump into modules, and then here the student could jump into that example discussion. They can search entries or authors as well. They can see unread ones. They can subscribe to this. So if they want to see new comments, they can subscribe. Or if I'm just a student that wants to reply, I can say, hello, my name is John, every student. I am excited for this course. Post a reply, and that's what it looks like. Now real quick, I'm going to switch back into the instructor view so I can show you what it would look like with a threaded reply. So let me go ahead and leave student view. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to first start by replying here. I'm going to say, hello, my name is Professor Garcia. Post that reply. There it is. But then I can also come here and reply directly to John, every student. And I can say, hello, John. It is great to have you in the class. Post reply. Okay. And you'll notice that this reply is separate from these two. This one is threaded, which means it's part of this reply. This one is its own reply. And here's the cool thing. If you need to collapse replies, you can actually click on this little arrow. When you hover towards the top of any of these, it essentially gives you the option to click on this arrow that collapses the replies. So you can actually collapse the whole thread here by clicking on the uppermost response and the arrow inside of it, whereas if I just click on this arrow here, it only collapses this one. So notice when I collapse this, that whole set of replies is collapsed, and this separate reply is an entity of its own. So that's how discussions work.